because the comic industry, the artists are so high, they're so high caliber, and the turnaround is so fast, and they have to generate so much content that has to feel fresh and cutting edge and compete with all these other creators. And I don't know, it's like some kind of, not a melting pot, it's that like iron sharpens iron kind of phenomenon going on, where all these people, it's a crucible where all these incredible talents are competing with each other, and only the strong survive, only the best stories, the most relevant, the most authentic, the most brave, the most skilled. There's a lot of shit made in comics, but also some incredible, amazing stuff. It changes everything for popular culture that emerges every once in a while. Anyways, today I'm gonna do a terror bird. They had a request from someone on IG to do a terror bird. A lot of really cool artwork out there, but what I'm looking for is a skull as a starting point. So let's find some good skulls. That one's pretty cool. That one's interesting. I have some ideas for what I want to combine here. That's cool to see. That one's cool. Then I was thinking maybe like an Andean condor. I'm thinking Andean condor close up. I was thinking where I could get some good texture, good facial texture. All those wrinkles, yeah, that stuff's great. That's a good one. Okay, Andean condor, that's pretty good. I was thinking of some viper eyes. I was thinking of like the eyes of some snakes that might be interesting to put in there. But I want not AI, sheesh. That one's pretty cool right here. Hey, what's up, Romek? Hey, cool, nice. Thank you very much. Yeah, Evolve was in a really cool game to get to be a part of, dude. Like, I can't, sometimes, when I think of other projects I've gotten to work on, and then I think back to like Evolve, like it was my first big game, my first real industry job, first big game. I was not a very good artist, but man, I was lucky, dude. I'm really lucky to have got a chance to be on that game. That one basically built my career, my whole career. Got to work with a bunch of crazy good artists. What else do I want? I want like human molars. Yikes. Creepy. And then I want, watch this, pelican with torn dewlap. I don't think it's called a dewlap technically, but there's some crazy photos. Yeah, this stuff right here. It's brutal. Then maybe a regular condor. I like that they have these like this kind of spiky hairdo thing going on in the neck. I did some sketches last night for the terror bird, but my phone is dead right now, and the stream started, so I figure I'll just jump in and begin. Okay, let's start with terror bird skull. This Andean condor face. Let's just start here. Shrink these a little bit. I just need to kind of get going here, so I'm not going to be too precious. Just going to get going. Let's make stuff. So Romek says a couple things here. Thank you. Thanks, bro. Oh, this is back to Evolve. It's insane how that game just had really skilled artists. Nick Despain and Stephen Oakley are really cool dudes. Oh, that's cool you met them. Yeah, man. When I look back, seriously, it was Stephen Oakley, Kurt Papstein, Jason Hill, Jason Hassenauer, TJ Frame, Obi Frankie did work for us for a while, Nick Despain. Shoot, I'm missing guys, which is not good manners. We had some really like legendary heavy hitters come through at different points. Peter Koenig worked with us for a while. Like if you look that guy up, like just absolute legend. Like he was working at Tippett Studios back when Tippett Studios was trying to do stop motion for Jurassic Park and things like that. Like he worked on Jurassic Park and Starship Troopers and Coneheads, like way back when all of it was practical effects and stop motion. And we had Guy Davis did some work for us for a little while. That was a pretty crazy thing to get to be a part of. I was really lucky. I really didn't really belong there. Sometimes when I think about it, dang man, I was really lucky to get that job. It's cool. My art director, Phil Robb, basically kicked off my professional life. Those guys really helped me out a lot. So I want to get a little bit of this longer neck that we see in the terror birds. The swoop. Yeah, wow. So you know a lot of these people. Yeah, you know Matt Koval? Yeah, Matt Koval wasn't an artist. He was the writer, world builder. He did all kinds of stuff. Yeah, he's all over that game. Dream project, man. I can't believe I got to be part of that when I think about it. Most people start off working on some kind of mobile game or, some small thing, a small, humble project. And somehow I got to work on an incredible, crazy project. I'm not sure if I'm going to stick with this, like Boy and the Heron or something. Some kind of weird humanoid teeth. Hey, what's up, Hails and Horns? I think this technique is really good for concept artists of a certain kind, like a certain sort of interest and sensibility. For graphic designers, like specifically apparel designers, guys who do like shirts and action sports and stuff like that, sort of naturally has a vintage look. And tattoo artists and 3D modelers. I actually think 3D modelers. It's funny because a lot of 3D modelers give me grief about this. Like, I'll never be able to understand what you're doing. But I think the more like modern concept modelers, guys who are they're like coming up with ideas and sculpting the creatures and characters themselves. I think it's best for those kind of people because you could get a blocking going in 3D and then take a screenshot of that or kick out a render and then go into Photoshop and start doing a process like this over the top. And the thought is that you could iterate a lot faster. So you get to like a standstill in your sculpt, in your design. Rather than just iterating on that one sculpt, trying to get it perfect, you kick out these variants and you could cover a wide range of possibilities really quickly. Here's a question from Roman. Oh, here's some good question. Arcvine. Oh, I'm so stupid, dude. Arcvine. Favorite kind of beer? I take this question seriously. Either depends on the season. Right now, during cold season, it's like Belgian ales, like Trappist beers, like really malty and strong. That's like holiday, cozy Christmas type beer. But when it's warm on a sunny day, definitely just a simple lager. Something simple, man, like all American, just like Coors Light or Bud Light. It just depends on the vibe. And here's a good question from Romek. How should someone communicate in a big studio that you don't want your work to be turned into AI slop? Or is it better to leave and find a different studio? I'm not 100% sure what you mean by this. I think you're saying, imagine you're working in a studio and your art director, your team is encouraging you to use AI and you don't want to use it. I mean, that's a good question, dude. It's hard. I mean, I admit, like, I've messed around with AI a lot, experimented with it, and even there's been times where I've been pretty excited about it. But this is like definitely like a personal moral judgment or call for yourself. It just depends on, if you're going to be able to sleep at night and feel good about yourself, or if you're going to feel really bad about yourself. So I'm usually of the opinion that people need to be able to be themselves and figure things out for themselves. They need to be able to try things and learn at their own rate. We're not all the same. We're not all at the same place in our lives. We have not all accrued the same levels of wisdom and life experience. So, you could say never use AI and you're the devil if you use AI, but someone may not see it the way you see it yet. And to assume that people should see everything exactly the way you see it is kind of absurd, in my opinion. It's just not how humans work. It's very controlling and it's not good. So, but if you are of the mindset that it's like wrong to use AI, you don't want to have anything to do with it, you need to communicate that and probably communicate it in a letter to HR and to your art director and to senior team leadership. You just make it clear that you're prepared to I don't know what but prepared to leave and find a new opportunity. And you have to be serious. You have to put your money where your mouth is. So that's very interesting because I haven't really had that issue. That's not something like a bridge I've crossed yet because I'm not working in-house right now. But for a lot of this younger generation coming up and attempting to be concept artists and getting in-house jobs, that's really interesting because you're gonna come up against that. Some people are gonna want to use it, some people are not. And it's a very contentious issue. And I'd say one of the main things is remember that like the industry is small. There have been times where I've, maybe been a bit of a dick to people and not been exercised like the best manners. And you will pay the price later on down the road in your career. So just consider that. If you really hate AI, think about the people you're interacting with on your team. Treat them respectfully, even if you really disagree with them, because it's very likely you're going to run into those people again. They're going to go out into the workforce and they're going to have things to say about you. They're going to have opinions about you. So either way, if you've been a real jerk about using AI or you've been a real jerk about not using AI, just it's tricky stuff. And I don't know if any of us can really authoritatively say what's going to happen with AI and if it really is the devil or if it actually does turn out to be kind of useful for us. And so I'd say use your best judgment and treat people respectfully about it. Don't be getting into crazy big internet fights about AI. I do not think that would be wise. Yeah, that's looking kind of cool. Check that out. Sick. But you got to be ready to walk in life if you don't like how things are going. If you don't like how your life is playing out, you got to be willing to endure discomfort, ridicule, embarrassment, shame in the pursuit of a life that's in alignment with your values. And that can be hard. It can be really, really hard. And not all people not everyone's like really cut out or, people are different. And there's some people that do better with discomfort and that stuff, and some people that don't. And you got to try to figure out what kind of person you are, so help you make choices in your career and your friendships and your partners. And anyways, okay. Daru's got a question here. When does your workshop start, Scott? So it actually started yesterday. We had the first session, and I've mentioned a couple times that I'm doing things a little bit differently this time around. It's a collaboration with Proco. So usually once my workshop starts, that's it. Like you gotta wait till the next one begins. But this time around, I'm setting it up so I'm gonna go in and edit each recording, each class session, and then upload that onto proco.com. So really you can hop in and take it like whenever you want. You won't necessarily be a part of the live sessions themselves, but it's still gonna be going on for like the next 6 weeks. And you could just catch the classes like as they happen, just like hop in and outlining those teeth a bit, putting some cast shadows right there. Are you going to upload the older workshops you've done? I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure. I'm thinking about it, but it's just a lot of editing work to get that done. I've done like over 10 workshops, so to go through and edit each of them will be a lot of work. This is going to be the first experiment with doing it this way with Proco, where it's like a live thing going on, but you don't necessarily have to be there live to follow along with it. But there'll be a new upload every week because it's a sort of in-between thing. It's a live event, so there's some of those hiccups that come with a live event, but then, I'd like for people to be able to enjoy it after the fact. Re-recording some things. Right now I am currently editing the main lecture. There's like a larger lecture about, it's an introduction to paleo art and to Pleistocene or prehistoric mammals in general. It's pretty long. Cutting out my rants. And same thing I'm doing with the live streams. When I'm here on the live stream, sometimes I say stupid stuff. And so then I can go back. You guys hear it, but I go back in my recording and kind of clean it up a little bit so I can breathe easier knowing it's going to be on the internet potentially forever. I don't know how many of you guys have done live stuff, a lot of live stuff. I haven't done a ton, but I've done a lot. And depending on your personality type, it can be hard on you. I think for me, it's hard to do this stuff. So I overthink it. You think about it a lot. If you say something dumb or that you regret, you're like, damn, that's on the internet forever now. So what's cool is about editing is I can avoid that. Fix it. Try to fix it. A lot of times the way I'm talking to people is like the way I talk to my friends and when I'm on the internet, and that's not necessarily really prudent, but I'm trying to just be myself, mitigate too much stupidity where possible. It's a fine line to walk, guys. Poor Joseph Merrick, the Elephant Man. He uses his skeleton like on a daily basis to make monsters. But it's not because I think he's ugly. It's because he's perfect. That's interesting. It's like oh, that's crazy. That reminds me of the bad guy from Highlander who wore the skull mask. What's that bro's name? The crazy dude. That's kind of interesting. Gotta be some people from the older ancient times generations. The Kurgan. Question, I recently went through the Grimdark Mutants course you put out. Do you think that the exercise would make a good daily morning warm-up? Yeah, totally. That's what I'm doing right here. That's exactly what I'm doing. I actually did some gesture drawings like this. I consider them gesture drawings. Even though they're not necessarily from life, they're from visual memory. Oh, man, these look ridiculous. These sketches of these crazy birds, terror birds, in preparation for today. I didn't scan them and work directly over them, but I sort of rehearsed. So I had some of those shapes, have some of those ideas in my mind when I sat down to do this. I think it's a great exercise. Best for training your ability to riff and design from abstraction. I use that term a whole bunch. It's best for that, I think. If you're going to integrate it into daily practice, I'd say that's maybe one of the best things you're getting from it. And probably shape design, like your instincts in shape design, finding cool shapes quickly. A lot of what I'm doing here is finding things, finding good combinations, how to blend things together. There's a lot of improvisation. I find that to be like both, it's a lot of fun, keeps me feeling like free and relaxed, and it's also useful for work. Next to Wonky, the reason I ask is because, this is about that exercise. The reason I ask is, I was thinking a cool personal goal would be to try putting out a fresh, gnarly body horror mutant and an undead machine creature based on the daily gestures, like a fight promo poster. Yeah, you could. That's a great idea. This stuff is not just about the dino horror. It's great for, let's just go through this really quick. This might be useful. So when I say designing from abstraction, maybe that sounds too like esoteric or abstract or something. But let's like talk about like where to do it. We'll just talk about genres, where to do it, where to use it. I'd say like body horror is a classic. We could do some of that. Thing is, I'm just trying to do a lot of this dino stuff because I've got my heart set on making a book. Say like demons. If you've ever seen like a Wayne Barlow type demon or a Guy Davis, lots of abstraction going on there, and these techniques would be really useful for exploring abstract demons. I'd say like aliens, not necessarily the primary shapes. Like I'd probably use something like symmetry tool to first generate a cool alien skull. Well, maybe we'll do this at some point. I'm just kind of stoked on the stuff I've been doing recently, but this is the stuff I do in my workshops, proper exercises, you know. So you could generate a neat head, and then you could go back and photo bash over the top of that. Like that could be a way you could use it. If I was going to use it on aliens, I'd probably be using it for like head crests. Things like that, finding texture on the bodies, trying to find interesting and unique texture configurations. You can use it for, aliens, but specifically, when I'm saying it, what I'm really thinking of is alien head crests, heads, like the focal point, trying to find some fun. In the same way you could use on alien creatures, like imagine making a alien rhinoceros, alien triceratops, alien tiger, and finding its head shape, and then using photo bashing to find interesting textures. You could use it for cyborgs, great for cyborgs. That's part of what we feature in that course, the tutorial. Cyborgs, robots, especially junky, grimdark, clunky robots, like stuff that's going to be darker and more messed up and damaged. Weapons, this is great for, really good. Weapons, I mean horror in general, survival horror, basically all the dark stuff. Like I mentioned, you could do this. This is useful. Yeah, exactly. Undead. You could use it for apparel design. Like I'm going to wearing this is my shirt from the summer workshop last summer. It was a portfolio development 2025. It went over the whole summer. And we took the story Old Man in the Sea by Ernest Hemingway, and everybody came up with their own interpretation of the story. They redesigned all the characters and the fish and the sharks but all through their own creative lens. It was a super cool class. You know, I made a shirt. There's some people that were voted the VIP by the rest of the group we were working with. And those two guys got shirts. And I'm going to do the same thing with this class, the Ice Age class. I'm going to take one of the crazy abominations, the Ice Age abominations, short-faced bear mixed with the mammoth and sloths and Smilodon. And I'm going to put that on a shirt. And it works, this two-tone art style works great for apparel. Absolutely great for apparel. And I mentioned tattoos too. Like tattoo artists have to be able to come up with stuff for their client pretty fast. And sometimes these clients want like photorealistic stuff. And so in terms of like practicality, I could see these techniques like being super useful for tattoo artists. Someone asked, do you have a favorite comic book? Yeah, probably Hellboy. Probably good old Hellboy. Just Mike Mignola's art in general. He's so good. I like a lot of his stuff, but I really like some of the stuff he was doing in the 90s, I think. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Fafford and the Grey Mouser. Let me show you guys this. They're adaptations of short stories by Fritz Lieber. These sort of dark fantasy stories. I do not know how to pronounce this. Fafford. These are awesome. These are so awesome. They're drawn so awesome. He did a lot of these one-shots, I guess. This one is so sick. Wolverine Jungle Adventure. It's just Wolverine. I don't remember the exact details. Like wakes up in a jungle and does a bunch of crazy Wolverine stuff, like fighting with cavemen and dinosaurs like T-Rex. Yeah, want to see Wolverine versus T-Rex? Of course. Yeah, fights Apocalypse. It's crazy cool. And he did an alien story. He did this one, which is like pretty legendary in terms of Hellboy lore. If you read up on Mignola at all, listen to any of his interviews. Apparently, this story that he did, this one-shot Batman story, where Batman goes to this like haunted house, this house that turns out to be sort of possessed or cursed or inhabited by a Lovecraftian entity. And it's basically the first Hellboy story. Like you could just switch out Batman for Hellboy and it's a perfect Hellboy story. You got guys standing on rocks and giant Lovecraftian nightmares and houses that blow up at the end and spooky graveyards, and it's super cool. So yeah, probably Mignola is my favorite, but specifically this stuff from this time where I think he's maybe using more photo reference and drawing from reality. And I don't know that for a fact, but that's kind of what it looks like to me, as maybe he's drawing upon more photos and reference. Or it seems like now a lot of it seems like from imagination, like purely from imagination, which is why it's more simplified and stylized, I think. And I love that stuff too. But something about this has had a big impact on the way I work and think. But there's so many great comics, dude. Daniel Warren Johnson right now is probably him, James Herron, Juan Gedeon. There's like a style He did the Jurassic League stuff with Daniel Warren Johnson. They teamed up and did something together. Juan is like a beast, so good. And Daniel Warren Johnson's done a lot of creator-owned work, so he's like writing and drawing. Yeah, this guy's amazing. Proco did a course, Drawing the Marvel Way course, and Daniel teaches the perspective portion of that. We could all probably benefit from watching that. That guy's so good. There's like probably too many to name it. Yeah, I really like comics a lot. I don't read as many as I used to just because of time and stuff. But every once in a while, I'll try to make a point to go to a shop, take my son, and he gets to buy something, and I get to buy a couple things. And part of it is about keeping my finger on the pulse of like visuals. I feel like the comic industry is where the most fresh stuff happens in the art world, because it's the cheapest place to try out crazy stuff. If you think about it, you could never do some of these stories. A guy like Daniel, he couldn't just go make a film featuring these giant interdimensional dramas with a crap ton of crazy characters, animalistic humanoid characters and giant monsters and gnarly stuff like that. But in a comic, you can establish proof of concept with an audience. You can show very clearly, like, oh, look, this many people like this story and continue to buy this story. It sold this many copies and units. Therefore, it is likely to have a fan base, an established fan base, if we go to turn this into a movie. So that's part of why we saw so many movies, so many comics get adapted into films, because it was the best way to just try something out. And I feel like the same is just true in general for just creative ideas. You could just find really fresh ideas and storytelling and design and color palettes, because the comic industry, the artists are so high, they're so high caliber, and the turnaround is so fast, and they have to generate so much content that has to feel fresh and cutting edge and compete with all these other creators. And I don't know, it's like some kind of, not a melting pot, it's that like iron sharpens iron kind of phenomenon going on, where all these people, it's a crucible where all these incredible talents are competing with each other, and only the strong survive, only the best stories, the most relevant, the most authentic, the most brave, the most skilled. There's a lot of shit made in comics, but also some incredible, amazing stuff. It changes everything for popular culture that emerges every once in a while. Anyways.